everyone. If you are a new YouTuber or you are a small YouTuber or maybe both, I wanted to take some time to talk to you about how sometimes it can be frustrating when you're not seeing the traction that you want to, and why it's really important for you to keep going. And when I talk about traction, I'm talking about the views are not as high as you want them to be, your subscriber count is not as high as you want to be, and or you've been working towards monetization and you're not there. My name is Elise, and I love to talk about all things personal finance, and that's particularly what my YouTube channel is. But I am also a small and a new YouTuber who has felt that frustration, has gotten through some of those, but I'm still at a junction where I'm getting through that last hurdle of monetization. The surefire way to not get what you want is to not keep going, and we're not going to do that over here. So I've been YouTubing for 3 years, and I started with not that many resources. As far as equipment, I didn't have a lot of equipment. I just have my phone and my tripod. As far as having a lot of reach to a lot of people, I do not have a lot of friends. I have 3 friends, and that is not a network where I can just tell them to push the video out and it'll get somewhere. And I know that's intimidating sometimes when you don't know a lot of people, but in this age, a lot of people know a lot of people, and I don't want that to be a reason why you don't keep going, because we're not trained on marketing. We're not trained on selling things to people, especially when you're starting from scratch. And I also didn't have a lot of experience on videography and selling an idea that you have to other people to have them want to listen to you. But with that not having experience, I didn't let it stop me, and I'm here to say that you don't have to have that experience. The only thing that I did have was support from my supportive circle. So my man, my friends, my family. I had a voice, and I had a area that was of great concern to me, and I used the different pillars from that area to kind of keep what I wanted to talk about going. And it's something that can be long-term, because for me in particular, I just feel like anything you are interested in, you'll be able to talk for it for the rest of your life. And in being that I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know anything about YouTube, it took me 4 months to get a viral, and now I say viral for me video, because it's for me. It's not like it hit 1 million views, but it hit several thousand, and I think right now it's around 25, maybe 30,000 views, and that's viral for me, for someone who didn't know anybody, right? Versus when I posted my first video, I was just sure it was going to do somewhat decent, because as a personal finance girly, I've seen people talk about that before, and it did really well. Mine did not. I think mine did maybe 80, which I need to be happy for that, because sometimes you get lower views, but I was like, okay, if I had stopped there, I'm like, no one's not interested. But people are interested. It's just that you're gonna have to give it time. And after that first video dropped and I saw how it did, I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to keep going and try to get better at this process, because it took me a long time to just get that one video up. So I focused on the things that I could focus on, which is like making sure I could do more and learn more about the YouTube process as a whole. What I perceived as not as successful as I wanted it to be did not stop me from doing what I felt like I wanted to do. I just knew I had to get better at it. And had I stopped at video 1 and didn't keep going for at least a year, I would have never known that at month 4, I would have got a viral video for myself. So I urge you to keep going when things seem a little rocky, because you can spend that time on getting better at the things that you can control. I controlled my consistency that time because I had to incorporate it in my schedule. I controlled learning how to edit a little bit better, so that it didn't take me a half a day to edit a video. It only takes me, like, honestly, 45 minutes now. I controlled how I prepared for my videos, and preparing the area and preparing the scripting. That's the stuff that I focused on, because if you have enough interest in the things you're talking about, that will get you through your frustration until it pays off. Because the next thing that I want to talk about is that YouTube takes time. It takes time to get to know you. I also really think that it takes time to see if you're going to do your part. And then once it sees 6 months, 8 months, 9 months to a year that you're being consistent, it knows you're a little bit more reliable versus someone who may even hit it off of number 1, and that's good for them, because at the end of the day, this is a business, it's ads, and ads is a lot of money. So they want to spend some time to get to know your content, and they test it and they see who bites it, because sometimes it's not just about views. They want to see who particularly likes to look at you, but that takes time. Once they know, they show it to those people first. Another thing that I want you to remember sometimes when you are in a moment of frustration is that if you're one of those people that think it comes easy for other people, I need you to stop thinking like that. Because yes, it does come easy for some people, but that can be a misguided thought. And then the other thing is, easiness is not owed to us. But let's talk about why sometimes we think it's easy for some people. A lot of times we come in on somebody that has got all the subscribers, all the views, and you can tell they're making 6 figures from YouTube, but we're coming to them in the middle of the story. A lot of times, if you go back into their history, it took them at least 3 to 4 years, sometimes 10 years to get there, right? And that's a lot of work that they did, an immense amount of work that they did. So it's unfair to think that they have it easy, because even if you were to go viral from number 1, it's going to be even harder for you to maintain that virality, because you just went viral that first time. You don't have the skill set of keeping it by knowing how to prep, by knowing how to edit, by knowing how to sell yourself and your idea, and knowing how to do other things. It's even harder. So I think we need to get out of that mindset that it's easy. It's not. Second thing, let's say that there is someone who does get it easy and they are able to maintain it. We have to remember that easiness is not owed to us. Life isn't fair. That's okay. Once we remember that, I think it allows us to guard our expectations, and again, just keep going through it and not be so frustrated when we look on the outside and then compare it to our situations. So now I'm at the part in my YouTube channel journey where I am still at a point of frustration because I'm not monetized yet. I've gotten over the views, I've gotten over the subscriber, but I'm still not monetized, and I'm in my junior year of YouTubing, right? And what I keep telling myself, and I wanted to take a moment for you to be able to think about telling yourself, is keep reminding yourself that your effort will be rewarded. And I can say that, and it's another reason why I can come to you in this video, because I am proof that the effort will be rewarded. Because as far as like views are concerned, first year I think I was getting 50 to 100 views per video, but I wasn't consistent. I wasn't doing it every week. I would try, but sometimes it was every 2 weeks or whatever. Subscribers, at the end of the first year, it was 400. At the end of the second year, it was 1,200. And I don't know what the end of the third year is, but past behavior predicts, if past predicts future, I'm well on my way to 3,000, 5,000. I do not know. My hours, my first year, I think I did less than 1,000 hours. And the second year, 2,500. So I'm close to 4,000. I don't know when I will reach that blasted 4,000. But if past behavior can predict the future, my effort will be rewarded. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where it's like, well, I'm not seeing the growth, then I want to suggest another thing, which I started doing the last month or two. And that is, you know, when those videos pop up and they say, this helped my channel, that helps my channel. And sometimes you're like, I don't want to click on it because it's a clickbaity. Sometimes they really do help. And unless you're going to read a physical book, learning from other people is not something that is unwise. And I would say about half of them have helped me. And they have helped me become, at minimum, a better YouTuber in my process. But I am seeing the results in my views, in my hours, and because my searches or what have popped up on me are about those things. So do not be afraid to seek help outside. So now when I say keep going, you're probably gonna ask, well, how long do I do this? And I do not think it's far-fetched to say that you're gonna have to keep doing it until as long as it takes for it to get done. A lot of people don't want to hear that. Some of y'all will understand that because it's just like, if it's something that you truly enjoy, yes, you want to do it for the money, but a lot of artists, this is digging into my creativity bag, a lot of artists will do this for free for the rest of their lives. Now, they may be poor, but that's a different subject. But there is something to be said about doing things until they're done. Some people, you know that statement that says, it's always impossible until it's done? It's very true. It may take you a long time, but it may be done. Now, there are some people that are practical. So if you want a practical answer of how long you should keep going, I would say give it 4 to 5 years. I say 4 because I like to think of my YouTube channel as a degree, a journey to a degree. And when you go to a 4-year college, it's 4 years. It's 4 years of you doing all the work. Sometimes you are putting money into it. So a lot of times we're putting money into our YouTube channels and seeing nothing in return. But after that 4 years, we get that degree, that piece of paper that says you have to pay me a little bit more when I go for a job. Because I delayed my gratification and dedicated myself to 4 years of doing something. And I would even urge 4 to 5 years, because if you went to school, you know a lot of people you went to school with, and sometimes it was you, it took really 5 years. So if you want like an actual finite number, I don't think you should really start giving up until then. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, some of the people that I admire, it took them a few years. It wasn't in the first year, it wasn't in the second year. It was more so 3 to 5 years when they started seeing traction and bigger money from YouTube. And YouTube is particularly worth it because there isn't that much startup costs when you think about it. And all you are really dedicating is your time. And sometimes you don't want to dedicate your time, but the life is going to pass you by anyway. And then the income is exponential, especially if you weren't starting negative. And if you did start negative, what you started negative like $200, like exponential. And the rewards that can come from it don't have to stop at YouTube. They can go into other things, as we've seen with many of the YouTubers that we enjoy watching. It is definitely worth the time. So whether you want to do it as long as it takes or 4 or 5 years, I urge you to keep going through your frustration, because there are moments when you keep going, you get a little bit of reward and you see the results that you want, that frustration subsides a little bit until it has to come back inevitably. But that's okay. That's a process of having a business and having things you care about. You're going to be frustrated. It's like peaks and valleys. It's not all, straight. So yeah, y'all, that's it. That's why I say you can't beat being a YouTuber, because there are rewards in it. There's rewards because you're learning stuff about yourself. You're learning stuff about the community that you're building. You're building a community, which is the most fun part, because I'm a real big person. I'm real big on building community at this point in my life. And yeah, vale la pena. Todas las cosas. It is worth it. So please let me know down in the comments what you're gonna do to get through that frustration to keep your YouTube channel going. And also, if you are a larger YouTuber, please let me know in the comments what you did that helped you get past the certain humps of like views, subscribers, monetizations. Please let me know. Everybody here is a sharing person in this community, and I will see you guys next week.